Good morning, everybody. Good morning from New Haven, Connecticut, but good afternoon or good evening, depending on where you are in the world. My name is Camino de Paz. I'm the Assistant Dean of Global Network Programs, and I'm here with my colleague, Matt Lassans, who's going to introduce himself in a minute. And we're going to be talking about our Master of Advanced Management at Yale SOM, which is a post-MBA degree. As you can tell from my accent, I am not from the United States. I'm originally from Spain, but I've been at Yale for almost 12 years now. And yeah, it's my pleasure to get to talk to you today and present our program. We're also here joined by our colleague, Elena Heath. Thank you, Elena, who is behind the scenes running this webinar. She's going to put the virtual brochure on the chat in case you want to download it, even though you can find all the information also on our website. Matt, would you like to introduce yourself?
Hi, everyone. My name is Matthew Lassance. I'm the Assistant Director of Admissions. Excited to talk with you a little bit more about the Master of Advanced Management or MAM program and some of the opportunities that are given or are here at Yale SOM for our students.
Thank you so much, Matt. So without further ado, I am going to start the presentation. Please make sure that you put your questions in the Q&A section of the webinar, because we will be addressing those questions at the end. So we are very much looking forward to answering any questions that you might have as you consider the MAM as part of your future academic journey. So what is the MAM program? The MAM is a one-year degree program that is customized by you, choosing the courses that you would like to take. So it's a very exciting opportunity because it's probably the first time in your academic journey where you have a say in what is it that you're going to study. That being said, it also comes with a lot of responsibility because you have to do a lot of research, right? There's so many classes you can choose from that you have to really have a deep reflection of what gaps are you trying to fill, what goals are you trying to accomplish with this program, and then come up with the right curriculum for you. As I said, it's a post MBA degree, so you have to be in the process of getting an MBA degree or have graduated from an MBA degree or considering an MBA degree before you join the MAM. You will join a community of purpose. We're a mission-driven school, and I'm going to be talking about the mission in a minute. We have so many activities outside of the classroom, clubs, events, speakers. That's why this is a full-time program, not a part-time, not online. You have to move to New Haven and be with us for a year because we're going to have a very, very intense agenda for you that requires you to have a full-time commitment. And you will have the Yale University Network on top of the networks of your undergrad institution and then your MBA institution as well. Why should somebody consider the MAM? This is not a program for everyone, and we know that. So you are probably doing or have graduated or considering doing an MBA in one of the top schools in the world. So you could very well graduate from your MBA and go back to the workforce. You don't need to do a second graduate degree, specifically the MAM. But for those that would like to go deeper in an area that they haven't had the opportunity while they were at the MBA because of the general management nature of the program, this is an opportunity that you can do here. You could go deeper into whatever area you are interested in: healthcare, fintech, nonprofit, anything that you might be interested in. Or you can go broader. You are not limited to taking classes at the School of Management. You can take classes at any of the professional schools, Yale College, or even the School of Graduate School of Arts and Sciences. So you can take classes all around the university, and you could expand your education beyond management and business, right? And take classes that you might be interested in global affairs and history, or even a class that you are interested for yourself, in drama or music, which I always advise the students to do. Take one class that is actually of a personal interest to you. So the MBA plus the MAM, we have a series of schools which we have partnerships with. You have a few of them on this slide. And basically what we have is like concurrent degree students, concurrent degree options with these institutions. Basically, you do the year one at one of these schools, the year two would be the MAM, and you earn 2 degrees, 2 brands, 2 countries, 2 networks in 2 years. Does that mean that you can only do the MAM if you come from any of the institutions that have their logo represented on this slide? The answer is no. You can join the MAM coming from any global school in the world, and you will have the same options of admissions as anybody else. But with these institutions, you will be able to earn the 2 degrees in less time that it would take you to do it separately, if that makes any sense, because we have agreements with these institutions. I mentioned earlier that we're a mission-driven school and that I was going to be talking about the mission. And here is the slide where I like to let you know that our mission is to educate leaders for business and society. This is really, really important to us, right? Every single business school in the world educates leaders for business, but we also do it for society. So I'm already giving you a hint of what we're looking for in the admission process. You need to show us your passion, your commitment, the impact that you're trying to make in the world, and what are the causes that are close to your heart. In your essays, in your interview, in the experience that you have had so far, in the extracurricular activities that you might have joined, what are the things that keep you awake at night that you would like to improve to kind of find that intersection between business and society to improve the world we live in? Again, this is important to us, and we look at this for all our students coming into Yale SOM, regardless of the degree program. It's also really important to faculty, to staff, everybody from the person that welcomes you at the front desk all the way to the dean. We all know what our mission is. And again, there are many business schools in the world, but we're looking for this specific type of person or a student. And you should also look for, different options of programs and schools, but you have to be the right fit for us and have a strong passion for this mission statement that we have. In terms of what other programs we have on campus, right? So you are considering the Master of Advanced Management, but what are the other programs that we have on campus and that you could also interact with? We have our 2-year MBA program. Again, full-time program. This is our flagship. This is probably the program you will be interacting with the most because you come and will be taking classes with our second-year MBAs. So, and we'll recruit with them. It's a very strong connection with our MBA. Then we have our MBA for executives. This is probably the program you will interact with the least because they come, it's also a 2-year degree program, but they come to campus every other weekend. And so they're on campus when you're not. You have classes Monday through Thursday. Matt will talk a little bit about the schedule later. And they come Fridays and Saturdays. So you might be interacting with them in some conferences or extracurricular activities, but not so much in the classroom. Then we have you, the Master of Advanced Management students. And then we have a family of Master in Management Studies programs. Most of these are pre-experienced programs, but not all of them. We have asset management, very specific niche program, then systemic risk, same thing. Then the Global Business and Society, which is a program similar to this one, but for people who have done a master's in management. So again, pre-experienced students. Then a master in technology management for engineer graduates, and then a master in public education and management. And then lastly, we have our PhD program. You will be interacting with our PhD students, most likely because they will serve as teaching assistants in your classes. And so you will also be having interacting with them in a different capacity. I'm going to hand it over to Matt now that is going to explain a little bit our curriculum that I mentioned is very flexible. You can take whatever you want, but how is that then put together into an actual curriculum, Matt?
Thanks, Camino. So yes, let's talk about the curriculum. And there's a lot of flexibility. As Camino mentioned, the breadth and depth that is available to students is, I think, different from any other school and really any other degree that you've had before. Really, there are only 2 required courses. Each one is 2 credits, topics in advanced management and global leadership. And those 2 courses, you're going to be with your MAM cohort. It's a great opportunity, one, to get to know your cohort better, but really to dive into some of those topics, really work on working in a team and group setting just to kick things off. But then you have 36 units of elective courses. And the really neat thing that the MAM offers students is the opportunity to not just choose from the 170 plus elective courses that are offered at Yale SOM, but also be able to look at courses across Yale University. So we have the 12 other professional schools and the Graduate School of Arts and Sciences, and it's a really unique opportunity for our students. Keep in mind with this, there's a minimum of 20 credits that you have to take each term, the fall and spring. But really, the flexibility is there, and you're pretty much able to do anything and explore any of those topics. So if you're interested in healthcare, you can go take classes in healthcare and whatnot. If you're interested in sustainability, you can go to School of the Environment, Public Policy, Jackson School, or the law school. Really, the benefits and the opportunities are endless, and it's really up to you to decide what's the best curriculum to set you up for success. One of the other opportunities that we do always mention is the management science major. And this isn't for everybody, we understand. It does take away a little bit of your flexibility, but could be a great option for you if you're interested in maybe a STEM field or a STEM career. So what you would do is you have your 4 credits of those 2 mandatory classes, and then on top of that, you would have 16 credits of eligible STEM courses. And those courses can focus in stats, modeling, programming, forecasting, quantitative methods, things like that. You see a couple of our popular electives on the right side there. And we have 26 different elective courses that are offered. So you would pick 16 units of management science eligible courses, and then you still are left with 20 units or half of your curriculum that is completely flexible, up to you. And this is something that may be great for some students, may not be great for others. And one of the benefits that comes from it is normally you have 1 year of OPT upon graduation. You could potentially qualify for a 2 year STEM extension after, potentially allowing you for 3 years of work permission in the US. One thing I do want to note with this is maybe there's a couple STEM courses you want to take, but you really want, that flexibility. You don't need to be a management science major in order to take STEM courses. So I just want to make that clear is you can take some of those courses and have even more flexibility. If you want to be a STEM major, that's totally fine. Just make sure it's right for you. So as we're talking about class choice, let's take a look at some of our students from this past year and what they did. So Ava came to us. She focused in, of course, on management. I think that's one of the key ones, but then took a couple classes in computer science, law, even some global classes over at Jackson School, and then a couple other fun courses just to kind of maybe there was that little interest that she wanted to get into. And then, as you can see, Alex and Kyle also took quite a few management courses, but took a little bit of different pathways. Alex took some classes in architecture, law, and I know a couple of those classes crossed over. Even took a class over at the School of the Environment, School of Public Health, and then looking at Kyle's, took a computer science class, added a Spanish class to his curriculum. So really, each one of these students was an MAM student, but they created a curriculum that fit their needs and interests. They had a direction they were looking to go, and some of it was a little bit more flexible and took classes a little bit more across Yale, like Ava. Some of it was a little bit more focused, like Kyle, who took a little bit more of the management courses, computer science courses, and things like that, and then dipped his toes into Spanish because he wanted to try that. So all 3 different curriculums, but all are MAM students. Now, on a little bit smaller scale, what does the week look like for our students? And I think this is always a big question that we get. And it's going to look a little different for each student, but just to give you a general idea, classes are from Monday to Thursday, and typically they'll meet once or twice a week, depending on the course. And you're going to see those classes in blue. So maybe you've got a couple courses throughout the day, and then you've got some that are going to be single day, some that'll be Monday, Wednesday, or Tuesday, Thursday. And then, of course, I think kind of the filling, and that's really the important stuff, along with classes. Classes are obviously important, but you're going to have meetings. You might meet with a professor. You might have club meetings. Hopefully, you have club meetings because we've got, I believe, 60 plus different clubs that you can join at SOM alone. But maybe you also have a group meeting. We love having groups working together in classes on projects. So you're definitely going to have quite a few group meetings potentially. But I think there's also some other things. Make some time for yourself. Obviously, have lunch. Make sure you're fueled up for the day, but take some time for yourself. Maybe take a yoga course or maybe get together with some other students for a dinner. I know our MAM students especially love to get together for dinners. We added this in on Monday. I think this year it's been Monday, but I know in past years people have gotten together on Thursdays or Fridays. And then go around Yale and explore. I think that's something that is often you get so ingrained into, studying and being in the classroom that sometimes you miss out on the observatory, on the museums, the art galleries, going to sporting events. All of those things make this experience truly unique and truly something that is going to be unforgettable and is going to be something that really changes you, hopefully for the better. So make sure you make time for everything Yale has to offer, and we'll see a little bit more of that in just a second. And then, of course, I think we'll dive into this a little bit further, but usually Fridays, since there aren't classes, are dedicated to kind of a career services day. So what that might be is maybe you meet with your career development counselor. That in this case is on Wednesday, but you might do that on Friday. You might go to one of their many workshops or go in for some interviews. Oftentimes they bring recruiters to campus. So Fridays are often dedicated to kind of career focused things. So just to give you a little idea of what a schedule might look like for a student here at Yale. Now, our academic calendar for this past year, just to give you a broad overview. So, students arrived in August. We have our 2 week mandatory orientation that starts up, and then classes kick off as we go through the fall. You're going to see Global Network Week, which is very exciting. Definitely something I think all students should consider participating in and getting involved with. And then before you know it, November recess and really winter recess and exams comes up pretty quickly. I know our students are in the midst of exams right now, so good luck to everyone there. And then we dive right into spring about a month later. Classes kick back off in January, another global network week. So if you missed the October one, you've got another chance in March. Make sure you don't miss that one. And then spring recess, and then commencement comes up on May 18th. And I think as fast as I kind of go through this, often students say that's how fast the year can go by. So again, really make the most of your time while you're on campus and a part of this cohort. Now, this year's class for 2026 is made up of 51 different students. Really amazing students. I highly recommend checking out some of their bios and connecting with them if you have questions via our admissions ambassadors page on our website. But they come from us from 21 different MBA schools all around the globe. 7 years of average work experience. Some of them have, quite a bit more, some of them a little bit less, and an average age of 32 years old. And I really want to emphasize this. That is the average age. We have people in their 20s all the way up to, I believe, mid to late 40s this year. So there is a wide array of students. And it's really figuring out what this program can offer you and how this program can help you. And students, at a variety of ages found that. 43% women, which we're really excited to see. This is a really great number, and we're excited. Hopefully, that keeps getting closer and closer to 50%. And then I think this just shows how international the cohort is, and I think it's really, really special. 96% are international passport holders, 24 countries of citizenship. So really, every other person you meet is from somewhere else in the world. I think is really, really cool. And the globalness of this cohort, I was working on the website and kind of, where have students worked? Where have they gone to school? How many languages can they speak? I'm pretty sure almost all of them, if not more than 3/4 of them, speak two or more languages. They've worked in, most of them have, educated themselves or worked in two or more countries. it's really impressive just how global a cohort this is. And I truly think they fit into that mission of business and society and really the global society, which is really, really cool to see as we continue working towards our next cohort. So as we're talking, obviously community is a big thing, and a couple different things that are going on throughout Yale and in our community. So we always have speaker series going on. Many of you may know we've had people like Stella McCartney, who's a world-renowned fashion designer, Janet Yellen, who's Secretary of the Treasury. We had the president of Ghana, who actually came and spoke with our students. So we have a lot of really amazing speakers who are really leading the charge in business and in society and kind of changing the world, hopefully for the better. And I think one other piece to this is we really try to bring in speakers who are going to be able to talk about topics of current events. It's not, we can talk about yesterday, but we really want to figure out how can we make a difference for tomorrow. And I think that's something that Yale does really well is bringing in people who can talk about moving forward in a positive direction. We also have a lot of different sporting events. I know the Yale-Harvard football game is one of the biggest ones, and always super exciting to see our students there. And you might even catch one of us at the game too if you're looking hard enough. So definitely a fun event. If you have the opportunity to go, definitely go. And then a lot of different conferences and events. Fempire, which is our female empowerment, female management event. Really, really cool to see not just the speakers and the people they get to come to that event, but also just see, all of the female leaders we have that are looking to take charge and really take that huge step into the world and make a huge difference and a huge impact in business and society, which is cool. Obviously, the philanthropy conference, we've got, AI, sustainability. We have a conference going on what feels like every other week. So definitely check them out. There's a lot of conferences, a lot of cool things to get involved with while you're here. And to mention that, the SOM Talent Show, if you want to see not just wicked smart professors, but also very talented people outside of the classroom, the talent show is definitely a place to go. And then, of course, as I mentioned, we've got more than, I believe it's up to 60 plus clubs now. So the SOM Club Fair, it's one of the first things you'll get to be a part of, but our students want to get involved with that. And one of the great things is oftentimes we hear, are we invited? Is it going to be, very like, oh, you got to fight for a spot? Our clubs really want people to join. We want people to be a part of them because you can add to the discussion. You can add more, knowledge, information, more thoughts, ideas. And that's something that I think SOM really, really wants to push is, let's get as many people together thinking about this and how can we, make the next best step. So definitely get involved with some clubs. I think one professional and one, I'll say personal or fun club is always a good decision. And of course, as we're talking about, getting around campus, I think these are a couple of our favorite spots. I think anytime anybody comes and visits us, we always recommend checking out some of these spots. So the Beinecke Rare Book and Manuscript Library, over 1.5 million different documents, some of the most unbelievable artifacts, documents, things from all around the world are housed there. It's an absolutely amazing place. Definitely the first place I recommend people check out when they visit Yale. The Yale Art Gallery is another one. Unbelievable place. The paintings and the art that they have there. I believe they also house one of, if not the largest coin collections for any university. The Yale Farm, really, really cool place. Something not a lot of schools have. Really unique place to check out, get involved with. And then I think Sterling Memorial Library, which is actually in the background of the Yale Courtyard photo there. It's a really neat place. I think it really, makes you feel at home. It makes you feel like you're on Yale's campus right there. Another really cool place to check out. Definitely worth seeing with your own eyes if you have the opportunity. And then, of course, careers. I know this is a very important topic for a lot of our students, and it's something that, I think Yale SOM does a really great job of. We've got a great career development office. We have a lot of career resources, whether they be, putting together workshops on writing, resumes, cover letters, doing mock interviews. As I mentioned, some of the workshops like crafting and telling your story and really being able to set you up for success and really try to help set you up so that you can feel comfortable and confident as you look to kind of get into the interview stage of things. They've got all of these resources for you. Please utilize them if you have the opportunity again. And some of our students, they really go on to have global careers all around the world, as you can see. You can see a few of the big name companies and some of the industries and areas that they really got into. Obviously, technology has been a big one recently, government, consulting, finance. So, really, when you're thinking about, as you're going through the application, you're going to be asked about careers. Think about this slide. Think about, what do you want to do in your career? What's that next stage? Do you want to go on to have a global career? I think it'll be really helpful. And with that, I'll pass it back to Camino to talk a little bit more about the application pathways and application itself.
Thank you so much, Matt. So hopefully now you know a little bit more about the MAM. You're excited about the prospects of applying to the MAM. And so the question is, when is the right time? And so we can see three scenarios, right? Before you even start your MBA, you can start thinking about this possibility. I can do an MBA plus MAM. So you're not even part of an MBA yet. That's a moment. The second one is I am actually in the MBA right now, but I feel like it's not enough, that I need another year to either, as I was mentioning, go deeper or broader. I'm not ready to go back to the workforce. I need, to sharpen some more skills. So that could also be an option. Or the third option is you have graduated from an MBA and went back to the workforce, but now you decide that you really want to add a new skill set or more depth in certain skills that you currently have, but want more of it to get yourself to the next level. So again, three different times where you could be considering the program. So if you are at the point where you are thinking about applying to an MBA, but you haven't applied yet, you can fill out an MAM application while you're also applying to your MBA, if that's what you want. And we have partnerships with quite a few schools. So just to mention a few, we have Asia School of Business, we have NUS, HC, UBC, Southern, and a few others that you can definitely, if you are interested, when you reach out to these institutions to start applying for the MBA, you can signal your interest in the 1+1 option with Yale SOM, or also with some institutions we call it master to master. But basically, you can approach these institutions and ask them about the pathway to get to the MAM, and they will guide you in the process. We're going to be talking about rounds and deadlines in the next slide. But if you're applying concurrently to our degree program in one of these institutions, you don't go by those deadlines, right? These schools will guide you on the specific deadlines, and you don't have to follow our standard rounds for standalone applicants. The second part is if you're currently enrolling in MBA, you will just apply in any of the rounds that I'm going to be presenting in the next slide. And the same if you are a graduate of an MBA program who has recently or a few years back graduated and are considering now the MAM, then you follow the rounds I'm going to be presenting, right? And you fill out your application while you're on your MBA or after. And both pathways bring you to our program, the Yale MAM. So what does the application look like? Again, for those of you applying before starting your MBA, there might be slight differences. This is the overall requirements, but for those of you applying via a partner school, please let them know, let us know, and we will work with you. But for those of you currently on an MBA or who have already graduated from an MBA, this is the application process. You have to submit a series of requirements. The first one is the transcripts. We want to see transcripts from all your academic journey since college, right? Your undergraduate transcript. If you transfer institutions or if you went on exchange, we want to see transcripts from all the institutions you have attended. Also, transcripts from your MBA. If you are currently enrolled in your MBA, you might not have grades from the complete program, and that's okay. Please submit whatever you have. First and second term, whatever you have, we will take. Then we will also need a resume with all your professional and extracurricular and education experiences. Then we need a test score, a GMAT or GRE test score. Many times we receive questions about whether we waive this requirement, and unfortunately the answer is no. This is a requirement for all our programs at Yale SOM, and so it's part of our admission process for all our degree programs. We also get questions about the executive assessment by GMAT. We do not accept executive assessments. It has to be the GMAT or the GRE score. Another question that we often get is, what is the minimum? What is the average? We don't give minimum or average scores. Reason being, we follow a holistic approach in our admission process. And basically, we look at everything on the application, right? So maybe a lower score can be compensated by an amazing GPA on your transcript and vice versa. Maybe you have a bumpy semester for whatever reason. Your GPA is not as high as you would like it to be, but then a GMAT or GRE very high test score might compensate for that. So anyway, we look at everything. No, we don't focus ourselves on one data point, and that's why we don't give away average or minimum scores. Then we need a letter recommendation from a professional source. Please do not send a letter recommendation from a professor. Has to be somebody who has met you on a professional setting. Can be your supervisor, it can be a client, supplier, somebody who can speak to you, to your skills as a professional. Somebody who knows you. Please don't try to find somebody that is very higher up because you think it's gonna look good, but who actually haven't worked with you directly. That's not what we want. We want somebody who has met you in a professional setting and knows you well. The second letter of support is from the dean or director of your MBA program. This letter of support is not intended to basically let us know how good academically you are. We're gonna get that from your transcripts. This letter is to let us know that you're a good citizen, that they're proud of you as their student, that you engage in different activities where you were their student, and that they fully support your application to our program. Depending on the school you've done your MBA at, we might be talking to those schools directly. And so you don't need to submit a formal letter of support. So if I were you, I would reach out to your school first. And then if you run into any problems, talk to us, write to us, and we will make it work. But this is the purpose of this letter, supporting your candidacy as a good community member of their school. Then we have a subset of essays that with the essays, we're trying to get to know you. So please make sure that you're genuine. Make sure that in those essays, you show your true self. Don't try to tell us what you think we want to hear. It's very easy to tell. We really want to get to know the person. Here's where we are also going to be looking for fit. So we did mention how important the mission is to us. So here's where we are also going to be looking whether, that is a true fit at the school. Again, essays to get to know you, no strange essays. It's just, to get to know you, your motivation for the program. We want to really make sure that this is the right program for you. And then you have to pay a $95 application fee. And then shortly after that, you will receive a link to our video questions. And I'm going to spend a little bit of time explaining what this is because sometimes it creates a lot of stress in candidates. And quite frankly, it should not be the case. The video questions are 3 video questions that are randomly assigned. So please don't talk to your friends and get the questions they got because most likely you will receive different questions. And it's very obvious when you have prepared for some questions and then all of a sudden you get the different one and you are on camera like caught off guard. So basically 3 video questions. We're not looking for the right or wrong answer. I cannot stress this enough. There's no right or wrong answer. There are 2 things that we're going to be assessing with the video questions. The first thing is how well you think on your feet, right? How can you come with a solid, well-articulated answer to a question? The second thing we're going to be looking at is your level of English. Matt explained earlier that 96% of our students hold international passports. So many of them, like myself, don't have English as their native language. So we're going to be assessing your level of English in the video questions. We're not going to be requesting a TOEFL or IELTS test. This is the way we're going to be assessing English. So these are the two main things, but I'm not going to lie to you. We're also looking for your personality. Show us your personality, right? We've read a lot about you on your application, and this is the first time we're actually going to put a face and a voice to a person that we have read about. So show us a little bit of your personality, your motivation, and that's also something we're going to be looking for. Then once we read, we review all the applications, we meet in committee, and we decide which applications or which candidates we want to invite for an interview. Not everybody gets invited to an interview, but after our first read of applications, we decide who do we want to move forward for the interview phase. In terms of application deadlines, we have already passed our first application deadline, which was December 1st. Then round 2 is coming up in now less than a month, hard to believe. So January 12th will be our second round. Plenty of time to prepare for the application. Hopefully you have a winter break coming up and you have plenty of time to work on your application for round 2. Then round 3 will be February 23rd and round 4 will be March 30th. What I want to say here is please submit your application when you think you can present your strongest application. Do not rush it, right? You want to take your time to make sure that you are presenting your best self. So that would be my first piece of advice. That being said, for those of you who have to secure a visa, round 4 might be a little bit tight, right? Because you will not receive a decision until April, and then you have to work on your visa and then everything to relocate to the US. So it's not impossible. We have plenty of candidates who apply in round 4 and still arrive on campus by mid-August, but I'm not gonna lie, that would add a little bit more of a stress. So if you can choose one of the round 2 and round 3, you would be not stress-free because you still have to move to the US and go through everything, but it'll allow you more time. The other thing I want to mention here is that if you're considering the program not for this next academic year, but for the future, please keep in mind that these dates will remain similar, right? They might not be December 1st, might be 2nd, or January 12th might be the 13th or 14th in 2027, but it will be similar dates. So as a reference point, this is usually our deadlines. I also want to add that if you have been looking for this program for some time, you probably see that we have now 4 rounds when we used to have 3 rounds. We have added a earlier round just for Global Network for Advanced Management students, which was the December 1st deadline. But we really wanted to give an opportunity to candidates from around the world to submit earlier. And so we have now moved what used to be our round 1 in January 12th is now our round 2. Okay, so now the most difficult slide in the whole deck, which is affording your MAM, right? So we still don't have the tuition for 2020, class of 2027, but the current tuition is $85,000 for 100. And then you also have living expenses here that you have to justify in order to secure a visa. So it's a huge investment, and we know that. That being said, we work with our candidates, right? If we really want you to be a part of the MAM community, we work to you to make it possible. So there are different sources of funding, but let me preface this by saying that we don't give away full rights. So there will be some financial commitment that you will have to make. So if you're considering the program, you do have to start also making financial plans, because there will be a part of this program that you will have to be financing yourself. That being said, we do have, as I said, 3 sources of funding. The first one is international student loans. We partner with, I believe, 2 international loan providers. I always tell candidates to also look for loans in your home country, because usually the interest rates are better, but we do work with 2 companies. We do have scholarships, and we have two types of scholarships. The first one is the merit scholarship. You don't have to do anything for this one. When you submit your application, we look at the pool of applicants. And if we consider that you stand out in our pool of applicants, when we release our decisions, you will have a merit award on your letter of admission. So the scenario is you don't get any merit scholarship, so you just get admission into the program, or if you get awarded any merit scholarship, it will be on that letter. We usually have merit scholarships that range between $10,000 to $45,000. That's the range. Then you receive your letter, and if you still have a gap, a need gap, you can submit a form. You have a short deadline. I believe it's a week or a week and a half to submit all your financials. There's a lot of paperwork that you have to submit and a form to request need-aware scholarship money. That goes directly to our financial aid office. It doesn't come from us. It will go to our financial aid office. They will look at each of your cases and then come back to you with a final award. That final award includes merit plus need, and that will be your final package of scholarships for you to then make a final decision about enrollment. The last source of funding is on-campus student employment opportunities. There's a limited number of hours that you can work on campus, but that's also a possibility. The on-campus student employment, like teaching assistant or be Global Award Week ambassadors, there are different opportunities. Those could help you with your living expenses. Most likely, it won't be enough to cover your tuition, but definitely can help with some of your living expenses.
Hmm. All right. Well, I think Camino might have frozen for a second, so let me see if I can hop in. Uh, so definitely, you know, uh, as we're going through this, um, oh, whoop. All right, I think we lost Camino for just a second, so let me see if I can get us back. Hang on 1 second here. Let me bring up the PowerPoint on my end. All right. Give me 1 second here. I will have the PowerPoint back up. Um, but no, as Camino was mentioning, definitely, go through the application and whatnot. Oh.
I'm so sorry. I was talking and then disconnected. So sorry to everyone. Matt, please, can you finish in case I get
Yeah.
kicked out again?
All right, bear with me for just a second. Just waiting for the PowerPoint to open. And then, where were we? Here we were. All right. Let's see if we can.
I think we were at the very end. I think I just had the slide. Hopefully I didn't disconnect before the IMAM unplugged. So that is our podcast. The last slide that I will be putting up is basically our email address. If you have any questions, please make sure that you write to us, advancedmanagement@yale.edu. That is our email address. We're going to be taking questions here live, but if you have any personal questions that you don't want to address in front of everybody, that is our email address. Again, advanced.management@yale.edu. Write to us and we will answer your questions there
Bear with
individually.
me.
There
All right.
we are. Yes, thank you, Matt. Put it in presentation mode. There we go. And then again, hopefully everybody saw this slide before I disconnected.
Yeah, this one or this one.
This one. Did you get to see this one or I was
I
gone?
don't think so.
Oh, I'm sorry. I started talking about it and probably I was talking to myself. So subscribe to our podcast. We do have much more information about the program, and not only coming from our admissions team, but also coming from our students, our alumni, and other colleagues. So if you are considering the program, we totally encourage you to listen to our podcast. And then finally, as I was saying, any questions, write to us, advanced.management@yale.edu. Visit our website for any questions. And then we have upcoming events, MAM Q&A on Thursday, December 18th at 9 a.m. Basically, you bring your questions. So we don't have slides or anything. We just hop on Zoom and answer questions that you might have. And then we have an application tips webinar on January 6th, where we basically dissect the application, go every step of the way with you to let you know what we're looking for. And then we have another MAN Q&A session on January 8th. Again, my apologies. I don't know what happened to my internet. I just disconnected, but hopefully we were able to convey all the messages. We're now ready to take your questions. So please feel free to write those questions in the Q&A box. I think we already had one, Matt. Somebody was asking about the average age of our students, which we already said is 32. But then also if somebody who has a gap of 5 year plus post-MBA can still apply to the MAM. So here very quickly, I'm going to answer, and then Matt, you can add if you want to add anything else, is the answer is yes, but you should have had a job where you are putting in to work the skills that you learn in your MBA, right? So what am I saying this? You will be joining classes with mostly second-year MBAs who have done the core the year prior. So if you don't have fresh in your memory, basic concepts in quantitative skills and strategy marketing, you might be falling behind with the students who have just gone through those classes. So again, if you feel confident that you have a strong skills in management because you have been putting those tools into work, then you should be fine. If not, that might be a problem. So yeah, that is that. But I don't know if you want to add anything else.
Yeah, so when it comes to average age, I think the last couple years our average age has been in that lower 30s. But we've had students in their 20s, 30s, 40s. I'm not sure if we've had anybody in their 50s yet, but we've had students at a variety of different points. And I think, absolutely, as Camino mentioned, as long as things are fresh or as long as you're using those skills, so you're going to be able to, dive right into things in the classroom, I think that's what really will set you up for success. And then again, I think kind of going to that, I think to some extent with that, having that extra experience and whatnot, and having that is great for in the classroom. And it really allows you to bring that to the classroom and have discussions and be able to kind of lead some discussions, which I think is really cool. So don't be shy just because maybe, it's been a couple years or maybe you're on the little bit of that, the over 32 side, we'll say. Don't feel shy about applying. There's absolutely an opportunity there to, help lead discussions and really have those conversations. And I think, again, the more important thing is figure out why you want the program and what the program can offer to you. Because when it comes to the application and classes and all that, that's going to be the key piece. If you're a little bit older, who cares if you're getting some great information that's going to help you, take on that next entrepreneurial venture or really be able to lead the charge in that next business or get that next role that you really want to get.
Thank you, Matt. So we don't have any other open questions, but feel free to please put more in the Q&A. This is the moment where we want to address those questions. We've given you a lot of information, but we know that, there are many things to consider as you are thinking about the program. So feel free to add those questions. Again, if not, just write to us or join one of our Q&A sessions. We have one coming up in 2 days. So that's also valid. I guess that as we wait a little bit to see if any other questions come in, I think that I would definitely encourage everyone to reach out to our admission ambassadors. They are on our website. Again, this is a program that needs explanation, if I may say, right? Like you want to fully understand how you can leverage this program for the goals that you have and how you craft your right curriculum and your right extracurriculars and what is the experience like. That is something that our students can tell you, how to navigate all that, how they made that decision process. And that's something that I definitely encourage you. You can find them on our website. If you go, you can find our admission ambassadors. And that's, I guess, my piece of advice.
I would say, I think one of the best things I could offer or add, as you can see here, we've got the MAM app tips and the MAM Q&A here. If you're thinking about applying in round two, well, I would say any round. We try to have app tips a little bit before each round, but um, I highly recommend, if you're working on your application now, if you have questions, come to the Q&A on Thursday. But I would definitely recommend come to the App Tips webinar and the Q&A session in early January. Try to come with a pretty much completed application ready to submit or whatnot. And come honestly, ready to listen with open ears and um, really come to that and think about your application. When we're talking about each piece of the application, and we say, hey, the optional essay is supposed to be for, explaining something in your application that, we might look at and have questions about. And if you, wrote an optional essay that is more of, I would love to come to Yale, it's a great school, and it's going to offer all this, it's a good time to reflect on that and say, okay, did I do what they said? Am I ticking off all of the boxes? Go back to your application one last time before you submit. Make any changes or edits that you feel need to be made. Or when you come out of it, maybe you feel like I hit everything that they were saying. I, think I nailed it and it's ready to submit, which is awesome. That's what we want from our applicants. But definitely, I would recommend coming to those events and just having an open mind. And then if you have questions, obviously during the event or during the Q&A session. If you're like me, you think of questions 5 minutes after. But come to those events, have an open ear, and then really be able to submit your best application when it comes time.
Thank you, Matt. We have a question in the Q&A from somebody who says that they have worked in a startup that has dissolved and doesn't exist anymore, but they have documentation and proof. Can they mention this experience in the resume?
Absolutely. So the big thing is, make sure you have that documentation, proof, pay stub, something like that. But you can mention it in there. Try to get a little bit specific with what is it and kind of what happened. This is a great example of where the optional essay could help if, you feel like there's a little bit of explaining of what that company was or what happened. But you can absolutely use that. Just make sure that you have documentation for it and can kind of show us that, your position was there. It was a real company that, was established and all of that.
Perfect. Thank you so much. So we don't have any more open questions, so we really don't want to keep you. We know you're very, very busy people. So we really appreciate the time you have given us today in your day, either in the morning, the afternoon, or the evening. I apologize for my technological problems. Thank you, Matt, for stepping in. I was talking to myself for, I don't know, probably a few minutes, but hopefully I'm back and we could convey all our messages to you. Stay in touch, stay connected with us. We're here for you. So feel free to reach out to us as many times as you need as you prepare your application. We are very excited about welcoming our next MAM cohort. So we're here for you and looking forward to reviewing your applications. So for those of you who will be having a winter break coming up, we really hope you make the most out of it. And who knows, maybe you take that time to fill in our application and submit an app by January 12th, which is our next round. Thank you, everyone.